Hello and welcome everyone to Galactic Gumbo, the nerdy topic show. We're going to talk all things geeky. We've got a lot of stuff lined out for you. We're probably only going to run about an hour, but we're going to be going over hauls. Our Mount Rushmore is going to be Christmas movies. Then we're going to be putting together our ultimate team of DC villains, which we're going to be able to select 4, and we're going to match that up against each other and see whose would win. We're just going to have to vote, and you guys can help us vote as well, whoever you think would win. And then we're going to be talking about toys and how they always seem to come out with so many figures during the holidays, and it's hard for us to collect everything, or maybe we just collect too much stuff. So we're going to be talking about that. Before we get into intros and everything, I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that it is a link in the description, and it's also here right there, that if you go to tblocks.com and use code G1TBX, then you can get 10% off of your subscription, whether that's a month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. You get 10% off by using my code. So let's go ahead and get into introductions. Dalton, kick us off, man.
I'm Dalton. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Daltonians TFs.
All right, what's up, Rick?
Yeah, and you can find me over on Twitter at Shatrdglassjazz.
All right, and you can find me, G1 Hextron, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook pages, the G1 Hextron. All right, so let's go ahead and kick it off with, let's do hauls. So, Dalton, why don't you kick us off with hauls, man?
All right, well, I got the first wave of the deluxes for Power of the Primes, and thanks to one of my friends who helped me out with that, he also got me a Universe Sunstorm set, which is a repaint of the Armada Thrust, and it came with the repaint of the Minicon Combiner Perceptor. So there's that.
Rick, what about you, man?
Yeah, I had a fun week. This has been a good week for me. So I got all the Blitzway 1/6 scaled Ghostbusters, and for those that don't know me that well, there's like 2 things I've been asking for I don't know, the last 10 years. And one of them is super obscure, but the other was Ghostbusters, like 1/6 scale, really good Ghostbusters, and these are legit. So if you're a Hot Toys or Sideshow person, it's worth checking it out. And then I also got the Hot Toys Jyn Erso in the disguise that came in. I haven't been able to open that yet. I did get some vintage Joe stuff. I just got an 83 Ace and the Target Trooper, which I've never had, which is a part of Destro's Iron Grenadier army. Then I got the Power of the Primes, the Little Pretenders, the first 3, and what else? The God Genrai set from Takara. I got that in. That's it.
Lots of stuff, man. So those Ghostbusters, they look really good, huh?
I really am pleased. I've only opened Peter and Ray, so I still got to open Egon. I'm gonna open Egon tomorrow. Today was my kid's birthday, or we had a birthday party. His birthday's Monday, but this week has been like really crazy with stuff going on. So tomorrow I'm gonna open up Egon. I usually will post a few pictures, so if you check out my stuff on Twitter, you'll see some pictures, but they're legit.
All right, for me, trying to catch up on this Transformers Masterpiece stuff. So I got Skywarp, Artfire, Inferno, and Grapple. Let's see. And as far as other Transformers, I've got the Sea Spray, Titans Return Sea Spray, and then I got the Takara Trigger Happy and Misfire. As far as Marvel goes, I got a replacement for my DC Bombshells Mira. I got the McFarlane, Borderlands, Handsome Jack, and Tiny Tina. Excellent. I love those things. Those are the first things I opened. And then as far as Star Wars Black Series goes, I got another 4-pack of the Amazon exclusive, or is it? No, it was Entertainment Earth exclusive Order 66 4-pack. And then I got the Target exclusive Luke Skywalker on some island. I forgot what the heck it's called, but
it's pretty cool. Is Luke easy? If I haven't been, so I have not been in a brick and mortar store in 2 weeks, which is hardly ever happens. Is he hard to find?
I ordered them online, but whenever I ordered mine, I heard some different Star Wars forums where they're like, these guys are starting to show up, and apparently they're showing up like a case of 4.
Okay.
And this one guy, he looked and he says, you may want to hold off on ordering it online and check and see if your store has it, because apparently the eyes, like some of them are just like he has, white skin, and then there's some where he has like, there's some darkness here, like he had some eye black, like he was playing outfield or something like that, and then just smeared it all over his face.
Right.
And then one that's even darker, and then like one that's almost like he's like kind of like a raccoon, So the one that I ended up getting is just completely, white. I didn't think that they were really that big of a deal. Would have been cool either way. My biggest thing is always the eyes, and one of the eyes looks a little off. But if I can't find one to exchange, then I think I'll be fine with it. So I'm just glad I got it. Just gotta hunt down that color in, and these figures supposed to be coming out. I think the Solo and Rhodes Technician are supposed to. I saw on the GameStop website that those are supposed to be available on the 10th, so tomorrow.
That's
so
cool.
You might check those out.
Yeah, I'm definitely behind. I'm getting further and further behind on the Black Series stuff.
Let's see. We got Cameron, our other Cybercast member that moderates the chat. He says that he's got a pretty big haul, so he was able to finally pick up his stash. So let me hang on a second. He's got quite a bit. All right. Fans Toys Omega Supreme Part B, Cup, Springer, Ocular Max, Laserbeak, and Buzzsaw, and Yellow Troll Breaker. Make Toys, Point Blank, Iron Factory, Acid Storm, The Hot Soldiers, Ratchet, and Sound Blaster. He's not done. Planet X, Thundercracker, Skywarp, Ghost Starscream, Acid Storm, Sunstorm, the Zeta Air Raid, Titans Returns Overlord, Takara Sharkticon, which one is that? Oh, Tour World RC, Perfect Fusion, Cesium? I don't know what the heck that is. Cesium, okay. And then GT Bomber, okay, so Generation Toy Bomber Megatron, and then Machine Robo, Shuttle Robo, and Missile Tank Robo. And then he said finished because he has like 3 different comments. Oh my goodness!
That's like every third party. Yeah, third party, man.
He's rigged this week.
He's rigged this week. He got me beat, man. I
know he's got all 3 of us beat.
That's a haul.
Even if Mike and Dakota were on, he would still have all 5 of us put together beat.
Isn't that every third party figure this year? Almost.
Damn near.
He says that he finally was able to get to Chosen Prime and go pick up his stash. I'm like, how long has that stash been there? Like since like 2015?
That's a U-Haul trip right there.
Jonathan United says he got the Titans Returns Overlord, and he's like, geez, Cameron, now that's a haul. So a lot of cool stuff, man. Yeah, a lot of man, you love the third party stuff.
Hey, stick around for that conversation we're having later because he's a part of that for reals.
I know. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our he said it's been building up since beginning of September. Dang, man. That's a lot, dude. All right, so let's go ahead and get into Mount Rushmore. Dalton, you suggested that we do Christmas movies. So what are we going to do? Just 111? Sound cool? Dalton, kick us off with your first one.
I'm gonna say Die Hard.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I knew you guys weren't gonna expect that. So.
Yeah, what do you mean I wasn't gonna expect it? That's what I'm about to
from me.
Right now.
From me, you weren't expecting it from me.
Oh. Die Hard. My first one. Die Hard. So now, Rick, you go. And then, Rick, you get to go with the number 2, and then we'll go back in reverse order. That way Dalton doesn't steal all our stuff.
All right, that's fine. All right, so Die Hard. All right, and don't hate me. Batman Returns.
All right, my second one, Die Hard 2. All right, Dalton. What you got?
Jingle All the Way with Arnold. That one was good, yeah.
And then, what's your third?
Oh, for third one, The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Grew up watching that as a kid, so.
All right. And then, these are in obviously no particular order, but I'm also going, well, yeah, they kind of, Batman Returns as well.
All right. Am I doing 3 and 4?
Yeah, and then I'll go with my fourth.
All right. So Gremlins and Nightmare Before Christmas.
All right. And then I went with Home Alone. Actually, I guess one that's a little bit more Christmassy.
I like Home Alone.
Yeah. I still think to this day, like I could turn it on and sit down and actually, watch through it, think parts of it are funny.
I'm going to go with Home Alone 2.
We got a lot of similar kind of list here, and we didn't even talk about this prior, like we didn't give each other hints or anything. So what about, is there an animation one? I was trying to think of an animation one. Every time I try to go back and watch like one of those. Which one?
The Charlie Brown Christmas.
So I tried to watch that even, and I don't know. I'd never really gotten to the Peanuts cartoons. I thought the little comic strips, because they're short, I thought that those were kind of cool. But
my number 5 was Christmas Vacation. Like I watch Christmas Vacation every single year. There hasn't been a year since it was out that I haven't watched that.
Just because I don't watch seasonal movies. But as far as cartoon, I think like when I was a kid, I liked the Frosty the Snowman cartoon.
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched it, I guess since I was a kid, so I have no idea if it's any good or not. I remember being sad as hell whenever Frosty melt,
Happy birthday! Yeah, I love Frosty.
Yeah, didn't they remake it or something too? I think they
probably did.
It was a prequel, and they got the guy who voiced Patrick from SpongeBob in it. It just was terrible.
I don't know what that is. I've never seen a SpongeBob episode ever in my life. So.
Don't waste your time.
I'm a little bit older than you guys, but like I can remember like way back when before like 7, 8 years old. And I still like it, is the Rudolph, the stop motion Rankin Bass Rudolph movie. I still like that. That's like
every year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now
the 1960s How the Grinch Stole Christmas animated short.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because let's see, another one that I was gonna say that's older. There's a Christmas movie that I like, that I remember that I enjoyed. We had it on VHS, and I think we watched it every so. My parents never made us like some, like make you sit down like it's Christmas, so we're watching Christmas movies. Like my parents never really made us do that. It was like, hey, we're gonna watch this. If y'all want to come watch it, then you can watch it. If not, then you play with your toys or whatever. But I always liked it, and I watched it every couple of years with them. Was It's a Wonderful Life, and it's black and white, but it's a pretty it's an interesting story. The one that I hate, though, there's a Christmas movie that I absolutely hate, and it comes on every Christmas, and they run it into the ground over and over and over again. And then every time you go to like on Christmas, like you go do your thing with your family, it's whatever's house, your parent, everybody goes to mom's or dad's or your brother, something, and you have that immediate family. And then after that, maybe you go to someone else's that's kind of like a second relative or friend, and there's a Christmas party or something. And then they are the ones that always have this movie going. And it pisses me off every time. and it's is it the Christmas Story or whatever? I just try to erase it from memory.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me either. I know people who like it, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't think the stuff is that. I don't think it holds up. I don't know. Well, maybe it's just because it's always playing, and every time I just tell myself and everyone in the car, I'm like, if they've got that Christmas movie going on, just a loop,
well,
I'm gonna go wait in the car.
I know there was one point. I know there was one point that they played it for 24 hours straight, just over.
That's
and over
what they
and
do.
over.
That's what I forget what channel it is.
I think it's ABC.
Yeah, but they play it the entire day.
Yeah.
So it's 12:01. Bam! At a.m. it starts. It doesn't end until midnight. Like, it's ridiculous. Let's see. Some people they comment in here. Jonathan McKnight says Die Hard, Gremlins, Black Christmas original.
That's a good one.
I don't know Black Christmas.
It's horrific. It's a horror movie. It's good.
Horror. Okay, see, I don't like horror movies. And then he says Lethal Weapon, the first one.
Oh yeah.
Is it Christmassy? I like
think
Lethal
it
Weapon.
was. Yeah.
I like this. Then he also says he likes the animated Grinch by Chuck Jones. And then he says Kiss Saves Christmas. There's a Kiss movie?
I've never seen that.
I think it's a Scooby-Doo one. I think it's Scooby-Doo or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he says he used to like Christmas Story until everybody ruined it for him. So, yeah, I like if you only played it like it came on like just once. I don't know. Like you only saw it like maybe once every to me once every 10 years. I could tolerate it, but for normal people, I guess like once every 3 years or something.
There's not a lot of modern Christmas movies. I mean, there's like stuff from the 80s, and it's easier for me to pick from the 80s. I don't know why, but
there's 90s too. I remember there was a
90s
Prancer movie or something like that.
I saw Prancer at the theater. So,
I saw that at the theater too with a little girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was
Ernest Saves Christmas.
Oh Jesus!
And I never got into.
My
Ernest.
grandmother loved Ernest movies. I think we went.
It's just one that popped in
I've
there,
seen,
so.
I think, every Ernest movie in theater.
Oh, I remember a movie that came out on Christmas Day, and my girlfriend at the time, I had to talk to her into go seeing it because my family was like, "You're doing what on Christmas?" And that is that Batman Mask of the Phantasm actually came out on Christmas Day.
Oh, really?
I went to see that on Christmas Day. Me and Batman animated series, we go deep. So I was like, Bruce Timm, yes, let's do it.
All right. Let's see. What was there was one other one. I forget the name of it. It's an 80s or maybe 70s or 80s. It's about he takes over to be the new Santa Claus and building toys, and he's got this one elf that's like, oh hey, instead of hand building this stuff, we'll start this machine, and we got these candy canes that are like made of nitroglycerin or whatever, something, I don't know, and they build some futuristic sleigh, and I forget what the movie's called, but I thought that one was decent, for a kid.
The only one I can think of is the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. That's kind of like that.
Yeah, this was before that.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into building our DC villains team, and we'll just get the name all for it. You can name your four, but after each one, like, why did you pick them, and how are they gonna help your team? So, Dalton, you want to go first?
Well, I didn't think that far through. Like, I just thought of who, but not like what they could bring to it.
Or you don't have to say what you just like. Why did you pick them? Why are they on your team?
I have a question too. Here's a question before we start. Like, is it okay to go completely cosmic and just do like the most powerful, or should we at least try to like bring it in a little bit and do like make it a fair fight? Like, does it matter?
I think I don't know if I went completely out there, but I got some powerhouses.
All right.
And I did this kind of the same thing with the mixture of I have different stuff here, but I think majority, I think at least 3 of mine, people are gonna know who they are. They're big names.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
All right. So first big one I'm going to go with is Darkseid, just because he's usually the big bad for the Justice League. Then I'm going to go with Vandal Savage, pretty much totally immortal. I had a couple more, but then I just lost track completely.
Well, you write the stuff down.
I guess Ra's al Ghul, because trained Batman's back in the beginning, and plus he's got the Lazarus Pit, so even if you kill him, he's gonna come back.
You're all. I see a theme with you. You're all about these guys that can resurrect themselves. You plan on dying a lot.
Plan on coming back a lot too. So, I'm also gonna say Deadshot.
Deadshot, okay. Santa Claus the movie when it came out in the mid '80s. Maybe that's what it is. It seems like that's just the same.
It came out in the mid '90s. It came out in '94.
No. We're talking about. He said Dudley Moore was in it. See, I don't know who it is. All right, Rick, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
This is hard too because I've got 5, and it's really hard picking between.
I have 5 too, but I was like,
I mean, it's so hard. All right. I've also got Darkseid. I've got the Anti-Monitor from Crisis on Infinite Earths. I've got Doomsday and Brainiac.
Okay. All right. You know what? I think you guys can let us know in the chat as well. Dalton, I'm sorry, but I think you're taking a first round exit on this one against Rick again. Dalton picks with his heart. Here's what I went with. All right, and the reason. So I went with Darkseid because I'm like, okay, leader, power, strategist, obviously more. Then I went with Cersei because I've got magic, power. She can revive the dead. She can teleport and so much more as well. So I wanted to have a magic one in there. I got Brainiac because of power, intellect, strategist. So I've got 2 strategists, 2 power in there. And then with my 4th, I went with. I really couldn't tell which one, like Zoom or Reverse Flash, like which one to go. I was just like, let me go with Zoom. I wanted a speedster, time traveler, also a strategist, and they're smart.
Solid list.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about that. Well, when you first suggested it, like earlier this week,
What?
I'm kicking myself because that was originally on my list and I completely forgot about it.
Who was?
Thawne or Reverse Flash.
Now, do you guys have any like first ones out? Because here's where I kind of listed this on my Facebook page too. I was like, first one's out. I was like, Sinestro. I was like, it would just be nice to have a ring guy.
He was my number 6. Number 6 was actually it was Sinestro possessed by Parallax, like him at his absolute most powerful version of Sinestro. He was my number 6.
All right. Another one that I did is I listed as as an out is Doomsday. But I was like, man, I don't need another power guy. You know, I've got 3 already, and Brainiac, Cersei, and Darkseid. I don't need 4 power guys.
The only thing about Doomsday, though, is each time he comes back, he's more powerful than he was before. He's always growing. So depending on, you know, how many times you knock his ass out, he just comes back stronger than before. It's kind of like what Dalton was talking about with the resurrection dudes.
Yeah, but see, Cersei, she can revive the dead. So if any of mine do die, they don't need to be able to revive themselves. She can revive them.
That's true.
And I was also like, the magic, I gotta have the magic, because instead of Cersei, I was gonna have Clarion.
Yeah, Trigon was my number 5. I decided not to, but Trigon was number 5.
And I had Clarion on there, and then I was like, no, Cersei, because she can do all that magic stuff. Plus, she's super strong, and she teleport and all. Like, just go look up Cersei's abilities, and it's just a list. It's crazy how long her list is. It's ridiculous. I was like, oh, go ahead.
I think like if all I'm looking at the ones I picked, if all of mine were gone and I had to rely on one of them, like if it was just a one-on-one, it would be the Anti-Monitor, because the entire DC universe and all the Earths were at odds with him in that Crisis on Infinite Earths. If I could only have one left, he's probably the one I would pick. I don't know who would be number 2. Probably Darkseid, but I don't know, man. Superman has beaten Darkseid, but he's powerful, but I don't know if he's more powerful than some of the others we've named.
Yeah, I put as another one, because I had 3 out. I put Ares, just because, you know, it's God, powerful. But again, at the same time, you know, it's like, why do I need him whenever I have Cersei, which can do all that stuff, and, you know, God as well, and then she has everything else. So it was like I kept on going back. I'm like, Cersei keeps on bringing more to the table. Anytime I was like, do I replace her or someone? Because the one that if I had to replace one, it would be Zoom. You know, it was like the speedster, but I was like, man. Just like we mentioned before with the heroes, you just want a speedster because someone to get you out of a jam, you know, like, hey, can we time travel just 5 minutes back and redo this?
Yeah.
You know, just get me out of a jam, or you never know when you might need a speedster. I mean, it's just one of those things that can come in handy, you know?
Well, and then with you know, Thawne, Reverse Flash, you know, he could screw everything up, just make it to where you don't even exist.
Yeah.
I mean, he will go that extra mile.
I think it would be a curious fight for when we start going against each other, and then like our 3 dark sides all line up. So,
Draw.
I just tell my dark side, I'm like, they have the equation, the anti-life man.
Right,
they
right.
have it.
Right.
You just see his
you gotta
turn
just
red.
Right. You just gotta start with the Omega Beam. Tell him no punches, no lunges. Start with the Omega Beam.
Let's see. Cameron says Anti-Monitor, Darkseid, Necron, and Superboy Prime.
Necron can build like his anybody who's dead, he can bring them back, and he also attached black rings to heroes that weren't dead at some point in that book, I think. So
you know what? Another one, a couple that I was thinking of as far as just kind of robotic type stuff. Amazo was one that, you know, like he scans kind of like Android for Justice League, but again, like he scans and he picks up on metahumans, and I'm like, well, we're not talking about metahumans because we're going to be bringing up gods and stuff like that, you know, to where, you know, or part machines and stuff. So it's like he's not going to be able to scan it. So he actually kind of be worthless, you know.
Yeah.
The only one that I think is the Annihilator. that the armor, it's black. It was in Justice League. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Which animated Justice League or what?
Yeah, animated Justice League. I think it was the Annihilator. It's armor. It was made by I forget, one of the people, like Greek mythology, the guy that builds stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hephaestus.
It basically is indestructible armor.
Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about.
That it, like, the more like you pound on it, the stronger it gets. Yeah. And I'm like, since we're dealing with villains, they're not gonna hold back any punches. You send Doomsday after that thing, that it's just gonna come back, as strong or stronger than Doomsday. Yeah. So the way that they beat it was by telling the two sides, because it was fueled by hate and anger.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So
I do. Yep.
So if we're talking about it's just facing villains, then oh man, that thing's gonna be powerful as hell, Especially if you told all three Darkseids, like they've got the equation. Just all three of them Omega beams right out the gates. Let's see.
This might be as nerdy as we've ever gotten. And for those that watch, that's a statement.
That's a bold statement.
All right, so we will continue to do this. We'll next time we'll do Marvel heroes, and then we'll do Marvel villains. I figured, because I wanted to do like, here's your power 4 for the DC villains, because I feel like the Batman villains kind of, they deserve their own. Even though they're DC villains, you're not going to be like, oh, I'll take Darkseid, and you're like, okay, well, I'll take the Riddler, like, or Killer Croc or something, like, hey, Bane and Killer Croc, man, those are dangerous, but man, they don't stand a chance against the ones that we named,
No.
So.
All it takes is a flick from Doomsday or Darkseid, and they're gone.
All right, so let's talk about I guess our one topic, kind of a short show, but we get into it's just kind of a general discussion, kind of like what Cameron just listed. Hey, these are the figures that I've been have been on my stash since September, just for basically a quarter. And it was just a ton of stuff, ton of money, because all that stuff's expensive. And, just with the hauls we mentioned, we spent a lot, and all the hauls that we've mentioned previous, we keep on buying this stuff that it always seems that the time that you need the most money, because you're buying gifts and stuff for other people, is during the holidays. And that seems that's whenever these companies pour it on us with, this is when everything's coming out. October, November, December. I start looking at my pre-orders, January through and on. I'm like, there's like one or two things a month.
Yeah.
It seems pretty easy. So I've had to cancel a lot of pre-orders and write it all down on a list. This is all the stuff that I need, and just so I can go back and buy it, like, during those times. So you kind of mentioned, Rick, is like, well, are they pouring it on us, or are we just buying way too much stuff? Are we just like, we should be only in Transformers, but we're buying all this different stuff,
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of leave the floor open,
Yeah, and I know for me, like this like October through December is usually pretty insane, but I like this year in particular, like there's just so many. I feel like there's so many, like just there's good stuff out there, and some of it's retail, and some of it, obviously we just heard a third party haul that was like all online stuff mostly. So it's not so much the retail stuff for me, but it's like this year, like I knew I wanted all the Titan Masters from Takara, and I said, I'm going to get them all. But it ended up Takara just like unloaded like the last few weeks, along with if you count the Power of the Prime stuff that we're already getting to, it just feels like, you know, Combiner Wars came out, and then, you know, we had all this Titan Master stuff, and now Power of the Prime's hit, but Takara is still unloading Titan Returns, their Legends versions of this stuff. And I canceled maybe like, I don't know, like 6 things just so, because my eyes were on the Blitzway Ghostbusters. And the Blitzway Ghostbusters, and so this all is headed to the same place, which is a lot of stuff gets pushed back. And then these companies try to bring it out between October and December to try to make that January 1. Because in people's minds, if you don't get it out that year, you know, you just completely failed.
You failed them.
Unless you're a Kickstarter, they just don't care. But so here's a situation where Ghostbuster stuff, that line, these 1/6 figures, they got pushed back like twice, I think. But they've been due like months ago. But they decided they were going to get them out before Christmas. So I had to make a decision. And, you know, that's what I was saying before to Josh and Dalton was, you know, is it me because I've branched off so much from like Transformers, and Star Wars, which were the 2 things I started collecting. And now I'm doing like the 1/6 stuff, whether it's Hot Toys, Sideshow, now Blitzway. And I do Marvel Legends sometimes. I cherry pick, you know, the stuff that I really like. And I do the Black Series stuff. I do a little bit of the 3 3/4 if it's like vehicles, like Kylo Ren's ship. I bought that. Mondo Turtles, a bit off on those. I'm just looking around like, so is it because everybody's trying to push all this stuff out, or is it we've just branched off and now we're collecting so much stuff that it's hard to keep up with? That was kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah, because, you know, there's got to be a lot of people out there that just kind of collect the, let's say, just Transformers. I think it's further up in the comments that they're like, look, I just collect Transformers.
I mean, that's where I'm at for the most part. And yeah. I've got to have to cancel a lot of stuff.
Because a lot of people, they just buy the, like, I just call them generations, you know, because it's, you know, all the same stuff. But like the Chug Generations style figures, whenever they see them in store, and just Transformers. And I know that can be, you know, expensive on its own. And then, or even like me with the Star Wars stuff, the 6-inch Black Series, that, you know, because I army build and I want everything in 3s, you know, and God, there was one wave, I forget what it was, but there was like 3 different style of like troopers. So I was like, oh crap, man. Well, that's 9 figures, you know, right there, plus the other 4 figures, you know. So I'm like, man, I'm already spending like $300 right here, you know.
And look, here's a specific thing to Transformers. Since Dalton brought that up, he's saying he's only collecting Transformers. And even if you are like, all right, so think about it like this: we're getting all these deluxes that you can find, you know, retail if you choose to, or you can get them online, whatever you choose to do. But you got those. But then the Takara, there's stuff that's come out. They have like a little bit different paint apps here and there. Sometimes it's spectacular, and sometimes it's just 1 or 2 extra hits here and there on the paint. But they have somehow convinced us, at least enough to make the purchase, that it's okay to get the mold twice if there's a little extra paint. And the difference in the prices is like, well, what's a deluxe cost now? Like
$40?
No, like, yeah, the Takara one's $40. What's the Hasbro one? Like 16 in the store? What is it?
Yeah, 16, and then like $30 through like Japanese import sites like HLJ.
Right. So they've convinced us that you know, it's that, and a lot of people do it. They've been buying the Takara after they already have the Hasbro mold. A lot of people are buying both of them. But a $40 deluxe, I don't know, man. Like I've made quite a few purchases. I haven't bought them all. I was going to be a completist on this, but I dropped out this year. Just couldn't do it. But is it $40 too much for a deluxe toy? So some of my problem has to do with some of the pricing and some of the things that they're doing, you know, on their end. And yeah, I know we have to import. I get it. I understand it. But at the same time, I'm questioning some of the things that I do. Like, you know, my Ghostbusters, I've been waiting a decade for like good 1/6 Ghostbusters. It wasn't even a question if I was going to cancel You know, Six Shot, Misfire, anything from the last like few weeks that I felt like I needed to. It was easy to say because I already have those figures. Most of us already have them. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not doing YouTube reviews, so I'm not getting cash back on getting them first and trying to pop it up. You know, so so I'm definitely looking harder at some of those decisions to try to make it better, you know, and I want to explore other stuff. Like I said, I like collecting a few different things. I'm not satisfied with just Transformers. I like Transformers, but I get bored with, if I'm only collecting like one thing, I start to get a little bored.
Yeah. So, real quick, like I saw a sale go on. It was around Black Friday, and I had my list of, these are all the masterpiece figures that you're behind on, you know, and I do reviews and stuff, but like I review what I want to kind of bring out. Like I've got like all this stuff. I've got like 40 things back here that are in boxes and like, or opened and sitting on top of their boxes that I haven't put on shelf because I'm like, I need to review those before I put them on my shelf. But I just got in these McFarlane figures from Borderlands, and I love them so much that that's probably going to be the next thing that I do because I'm excited right now for those the most, you know. And so there's things that have been sitting over here for a couple or even 3 months, you know. So like I'm not going to be Johnny First on that stuff, but hey, it'll eventually get out, you know, and I'm not trying to pump out 5-10 videos a day, you know, either.
Yeah.
So I do this as a hobby, and I'm like, hey, you know, this is what I got, and you know, I wanted to share it, and you know, if this helps, then you know, it helps someone. So like I had, like I said, the masterpiece list, and masterpiece figures are expensive. You know, we're not talking about $15 deluxe figures anymore. We're talking about $100, $150, $200 figures. So whenever I saw Black Friday sale go up, I was like, I can add these 4 masterpiece figures, and I think I totaled it up to where by waiting, I saved like $130, $140.
Yeah, it was super smart. I saw you were doing that.
Yeah,
that was super smart.
I saved like $140 or $130, $140, which essentially meant like I got like Masterpiece Inferno free, you know, like and that's what I did. One of the comments that I got from someone is they were like, "Oh, you know, you're putting this out now, like," and they listed off like half a dozen YouTubers there, like they've already done this. I'm like, that's good for them, you know. I gotta, you know, I buy more than just that. I gotta shop a lot smarter, you know. I gotta be a little bit smarter with my money. I gotta look for sales. I gotta, you know, I'm looking for coupons and stuff.
Well, and you know, a lot of these commenters don't understand that not every person that puts up a video on YouTube makes any money off of them. A lot of these new YouTubers that he's probably naming off are making thousands of dollars a month on YouTube to pay for their rent and for their figures. So, you know, if they're going to complain about timing, then quite frankly, I really don't care.
Well, I don't care about that part because it didn't bother me one bit. I'm just using the example that like, I might not be Johnny First, but you know, I'd rather have an extra $140 in my pocket so I can buy some more stuff, you know, and stuff that I like the Order 66 4-pack. I was able to buy a second one of those because they were $100 whenever I bought the original, the first one. They went on sale for one day for, I think it was $40. So I essentially paid $10 per figure, you know, for exclusives, so where now I could have double, you know. So I was like, to me, you know, that was smart shopping. The Castle Grayskull that's behind me, what was that originally retail? $300, $350?
Yeah, it was expensive.
Something like that. Yeah, I bought it for $125, brand new in the box, you know. So that's what I look for is deals like that. And that's how I'm able to obtain, you know, one TIE Fighter I bought when it was brand new, it was $170. The other one that I bought, I think it was $50, Amazon had like a clearance on it with free shipping, $50, and I was like, give me a second one, So to me, I've got to do a little bit more, smarter shopping, based on my income and stuff. But again, I like to buy all this, different stuff. It really does get difficult whenever you're at the end of holiday season. You want to buy some gifts, or basically I just buy gift cards for everybody, where do you want a gift card? They tell me, I'm like, all right, there you go. And I'm just like handing them out, and I'm like, there you go. I don't put them in a bag or anything. I just might wrap the sack that they put it in for me. And just, there you go. But it's difficult whenever you collect Star Wars, Transformers, DC, and also, speaking of Super 7, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Man, they just kind of pop up like, okay, starting next week, we're going to have a full wave of Masters of the Universe figures, which is going to be $200, and it's only going to be, pre-order for 2 weeks. I was like, it's like you have to, like, because if you miss it, you missed out on it. I wish they would do it for like a month. That way I'm like, okay, I can wait till the paycheck that I usually buy most of my figures. Because if they ever hit me with that thing whenever it's a, rent's due paycheck, then it's like, man, I don't have an extra $200.
I think they got a lot of flack, I think, on this last one, which is why they opened it up and they said that it's going to be open until they ship the first Filmation wave that we ordered. So, and that's fair. I'm glad that they kept it open. I've only pre-ordered the Sorceress wave, whatever that one is. I'm still waiting to catch up to pre-order the other 4. But I'm glad that they did that. That was fair.
Yeah, so I've got, all those set up. And, that's one of those things where you never know whenever that's going to hit. And then also, like the Masterpiece sale that I was referring to, that, I had a feeling that it was something like that was going to hit. And I kind of saved and got some money together ready for that, just like the same thing whenever I know San Diego Comic-Con and what's the other one? New York Comic-Con roll around. I know NECA's probably going to release some $200 Ninja Turtle set, 4-pack or 8-pack or something. So I need to have myself about $200 to $300, ready, for that. So it's just those things, even though you kind of know that, you've kind of planned for them, you even plan for, kind of saving your money over the summer. It's hard. It's hard because you're doing backtracking during the summer. That's all I do is backtrack a lot of stuff.
The 1/6 stuff, once it starts to, if they fall behind on the back end when they're creating this stuff and packaging it and all those things, the worst thing is when you see like everything gets moved, and it moved. I would say every month at least one item moves, but by the time you get to the end of the year when everything's kind of been shifting, and if you're doing flex pays too, which a lot of people do the flex pays, which is how they have been so successful with the licensing and stuff like that, because people just can't afford that stuff in one chunk. But by the time you get to like October, there's at least like 5 or 6 guys who have kind of shifted, and like I can name off and I don't collect everything that they put out, but like just the last 2 months, the stuff that kind of shifted a little bit: Daredevil, Netflix; Punisher, Netflix; Sideshow Zuckuss, the Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Rocket, and Star-Lord, K2SO, both of the Gen Ursos. I mean, and just if you add that up, all that stuff, if it all shifts to the same 3 or 4 weeks, you're in trouble, because then you got to figure out, like, if you really want them all, which ones are you going to cancel? I mean, unless you just have unlimited money and you can spend $5,000 a month. Well,
here's another thing that's kind of, because we collect Star Wars stuff, and I know you're into the 6-inch line. I'm a little bit more deeper into it. But that's another thing that I've started, after the past couple years to prepare for, is like September. Man, I need to have me about $600 at least ready, because and I was right, because they do like night of, like, oh, surprise, we have an exclusive. We have 3 exclusives, and this other store, they've got exclusives, and like everyone had an exclusive. I've never seen so many Star Wars exclusives.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like I said, I'm still, even after putting in all the work and trying to track everything down and keep an eye on everything, I still don't have the Walmart Kylo Ren Throne Room exclusive. So I still got to figure out how to get that, and it's even harder to get to these stores because you can't buy that one online.
Right.
And then fighting through all the people just to find what you want, because the people that they're hiring for part-time and toys and stuff like that, they're probably not putting that stuff where it's supposed to go.
Yeah, I definitely think I think that, and specifically Black Series stuff, I think they're isolating some collectors, and I don't think that's a good idea with the current state of retail. So, but yeah, for me, like if I get too far behind, I'm going to start thinking about, well, I don't need to get these anymore, and I'm maybe like 10 back this time. The mainline stuff I'm good, but like you said, the exclusives, that takes time, commitment. And that list that you spoke of, you got to keep that list handy.
Oh yeah, like here, I want to read you guys my list. It's because I just pull it up on my inkpad. It's under pre-orders. It starts off Sideshow Hot Toys Darth Vader. Start charging your card this amount of money on this date for these months. Like, just hey, buddy, you better remember those. Then it was like, all right, Masterpiece, Thrust, Dirge, Cassette 4-pack, Sunstreaker, the MP12 Plus Sideswipe. Then you got the Voltron Black Line Classics and the 4 other lines Classic. Master of the Universe Classics, Hawk, the Doomsday Superman 2-pack, Batcave. And then I got all the Transformers, the Power of the Prime stuff, and then my Star Wars needs, that I've just got 3 left. The Jaina Solo, Rose Tech, and then the Walmart Kylo Ren. So, and then I just go through there and because I had to cancel all these pre-orders, and then wait till I get paid where I can buy some stuff and just be like, all right, I have this X amount of money. All right, what are some of these things that I think are going to sell? The way I usually do it is what's going to sell. What do I think is going to sell out first? That's what I'll put in there and try to, make the money match up. And I just chip away at it.
Yeah. I'm there with you. I keep a calendar for this. The only thing I keep a calendar for, but it's pretty much what you just said. I keep a calendar for in my phone of all the Sideshow Hot Toys, anything that's 1/6 with the flex pays. And if you look at my calendar, I'll have like my son's birthday, and then next to it I've got Zuckus Flex 1 pay, and it's my whole calendar is turned into this Hot Toys juggling balancing act. So I don't know if that's just me. I'd love to hear what other people. I like to hear if other people are having similar issues.
Well,
go ahead, Dalton.
Well, see, for me, being someone who only collects Transformers, I just go back and forth. Like, do I want just the regular release, or do I want the Dakota? So, I entirely skipped Misfire, and so I've got the Dakota one on the way. I'm going to get the Dakota Slug Slinger. So, it's a choice, because, you see these ones coming out now. You're like, I want them, but, I can wait until the superior one comes out. So, I mean, and it gives you more time to save on the one that you really want.
Yeah.
Like, the Sideswipe is a perfect example. I could have gotten the second run version on BBTS. Like, I can get the more tune accurate one for a little bit less, along with Sunstreaker. So, which is in itself toy and cartoon accurate. So,
yeah, I'm wondering how many more years it'll be before it prices out a lot of people, not just Transformers, but all this stuff.
Yeah.
So the first Masterpiece Transformer was Lambor, right? Sideswipe?
Prime.
Was it Prime?
Well, you're talking about car, right?
Oh.
Like the Masterpiece. Like, what do we consider to be kind of like the beginning of Masterpiece?
Prime.
How much was Prime? You remember?
US it is 120.
120.
Are you talking about the Hasbro MP10?
Yeah, that's if he's what we're calling the beginning of Masterpiece, like 110.
I usually did it MPO8 with Grimlock, but even though he's smaller, because the MPO9, you have Rodimus, because I think the Rodimus and the Hot Rods are completely different.
Yeah, because if we're looking at the scale that they're at now, I guess Prime and Sideswipe would be like the first two, right? I'm just looking I wanted to look at prices, and I wanted to pick like kind of two of them to look at. Wasn't Sideswipe like under 70?
Yeah, I think he was like $70. I got my Hasbro. It was a Toys R Us exclusive MP10. It was $100 at that point.
So there you go. So when we started to get us in at the ground floor, make us collect what we wanted, it's $100, $70 for those two. Where are we at now? Like, where are we headed in 2018? Dinobot is, how much is Dinobot?
Well, it honestly depends on how you're getting him too.
How about
ballpark? It's over. It's 200 plus.
Yeah.
200.
What was Megatron's price?
230 or something like that. I think I got mine for like 190.
Yeah. So just a little bit of a markup. I mean, because Sunstreaker, again, he's $80 bottom line. Import 120, which is what Primal was.
Yeah.
Do you think third-party influence, that at all as far as pricing goes? Because I got to think, because we were paying 170, 100, maybe 120, for like if it was Ultra Magnus or something, a bigger thing, for Masterpiece. And then here's people that are dropping $200, $210, $20, $220 on, third-party Masterpiece figures. They're like, we can charge this much for it, and they'll pay it. Hey, we need to rethink our pricing,
And they can. Go ahead, Dalton.
I would say it's a little bit of both of third-party and parts count.
Yep.
Because look at all the pieces that are on Megatron, and then compare that to the few pieces that are on Ultra Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got to have all those small pieces in order to get Megatron into that gun mode.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Ultra Magnus was one of the earlier ones, and the only other big one other than the helm
Star Saber.
Star Saber wasn't, again, incredibly expensive.
It was 150.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And he's got the individual Saber guy, whatever the hell his name is, and then he's got the little head, the Brainmaster gimmick and all that stuff.
Star Saber, yeah.
So I mean,
where are we headed? Like, do you think we'll hit the $300 mark? And if we do, how many people are going to be still on board?
I think the only way we'll hit a $300 mark is if it's going to be something.
Beast Wars Megatron.
Well, I can see. I don't see that because his transformation is really simple compared to Dinobot. I'd see him, for the size, being roughly the same price as Dinobot.
Well, let's stick to G1, so I know what characters we're talking about, because I'm not buying any of those Beast Wars figures. So.
Okay, so say if they do come out with Galvatron next year, if they do.
All right, Galvatron, which they will.
Electronics, with electronics.
200. Right, yeah. Just rough estimate, 200.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, my point was, like, I'm just wondering, like, at what point do we get priced out, and is it only going to be, like, the super hardcore?
So, like, when do you need to reevaluate, like, okay, am I all in? Because, like, right now, I'm buying every repaint of...
Triple changers. Triple changers.
Yeah.
Would be where it probably hit around 250 to 300. I can imagine.
Especially if they stick to the animation model and they don't shortcut it like the third-party companies did with Springer. Some of them are taking shortcuts on Springer. I love some third party stuff, but man, that Springer, they're taking some shortcuts. But if you have to go animation model, yeah, I could see that being that 250. Yeah, so that was my point. And yeah, I've looked at 1/6 stuff too. You know, when I got into 1/6 stuff, Sideshow had like, I've been into it for a long time, like since 2001. And back then, they had the Buffy license and Universal Monsters and James Bond. Like, you know, it wasn't a whole lot, but like the some of those figures, they were around the $100 mark when I started. I can't remember how much. Luke Jedi was the first from Return of the Jedi. Was the first 1/6 Star Wars figure that came out under Sideshow. I can't remember how much it was. I don't know. Maybe it was under 140. I just can't remember. But I know now you will not get any 1/6 scale figures from any of them under like 210. Most of them are more than that. And Star Ace and Blitzway and, you know, all these companies, man, they're hitting like the 250 mark. It used to be for 250, you could get an Iron Man armor that lit up in like 8 different places and had like a face sculpt inside and a mask that, you know, a lot of parts and a lot of things you could interchange and a nice base. That's what you would get for 250. Now you're lucky if you can get like a Princess Leia in just the white gown and a gun. So, or like a Bruce Banner figure with a pair of glasses and a tie. I mean, so anyway, I'm just wondering that, you know, we talk about like at the end of the year trying to figure out how to balance all this stuff, but price is something that you can't not look at. Prices. I've seen a lot of people drop out. I've seen people drop out of the hobby, and that's why I say that.
So to wrap that up, if they do go to a $300 price point where it's like, okay, that's the new for the larger figures. That's the new 200. Like they've gone up, you know, $100 to where it's 300. And let's say they keep on releasing them at the rate that they are releasing them. Even, you know, like if they went up to 300 and they only released, you know, 4 figures a year, then
right.
You know, like, but hey, you're gonna do one every like month and a half, you know, to where it seems, or you know, it would probably be the first thing, you know, that I'll drop, because I'm not gonna drop the Batman animated series. I don't know how long that's going on, but if it goes into Justice League, man, I'm totally all in with that. I love it. The DC Icon series is basically over, but they're doing DC Essentials, so it's like, okay, I wanted like all the characters for the icons, but hey, if your Essentials is going to be your new thing, then I'll jump in on it. Let's ride this thing out, because I want like some big Barda and some crazy, you know, characters out there that you don't really make, like how Mattel got deep into it, but I want like their quality, you know, nice looking figures. Not look, you know, they don't look like they're meant for a child. So the Masters of the Universe Filmation stuff, I'm not backing off of that. I'm all in as long as you want to give me Filmation. Star Wars 6-inch Blackline series, I'm so deep into that, you know, I was saying on Cybercast, I want to make these things my dependents, you know, and claim them on my taxes, you know.
Right.
But I'm so deep into it that like I'm not backing off now. Like, well, I can't back off. You know, and a figure cost me $20. You know, a figure cost me $20.
What happens? Would you still stay on if it was 30 each?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you expect something more for 30, or is that just to keep doing exactly what they're doing but priced up?
I mean, if they today said that, hey, we're going up, you know, 50% to $30 per figure, and we're not really changing we're not changing a thing, then I'm sticking with it. You know, I just would, just because like I think that they would find that would be a mistake. I think you'd have to go to 25 before you go to 30.
Yeah.
You know, and some stores like GameStop already charge like $22.99 anyway. You know, so it's a little bit more. I think at Toys R Us, like on some of their exclusive figures, they charge $21.99 or $22.99. So it's kind of already starting to go there. But You got places like Walmart that are like, hey, $16.98. It's like, okay, that's where I'm doing all my troop building. Or I wait for sales where it's buy one get one half off or something. But anyways, I would stick with them because still, that's something I like, and all the different characters. Transformers, you're talking about one character that may have several different repaints at $300 a pop. As much as I like Transformers, I think Transformers Masterpiece is the first thing that would have to go in my collection, to where it's like, one, I'd probably, and I wouldn't just be like, all right, I'm done. So what I have now, I'm keeping it all, and I'm just not buying any more. I would probably, sell quite a bit of it, because do I absolutely love my Year of the some animal that I still don't know what it is, dragon or goat or dog or something, but clear and gold Soundwave. It's cool and all, I get it. It's another figure I got on sale for really cheap. But I mean, do I have to have that in my collection? No, man. I could sell it today and I wouldn't really miss it. But at this point, I'm like, MP8 to now, I'm collecting it all, unless it's that bathing ape stuff that's like over $1,000. I'm not messing with that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's another thing to where I told myself in my collection, to where I was like, I'm buying everything, every repaint, everything. But whenever they did that bathing ape stuff and they're trying to get $1,000 a figure out of it, I was like, okay, that's where I'm drawing the line. I'm not, because there's 3 of them. I'm not spending $3,000 or $2,500 or whatever they want me to pay to get these exclusive MP10s that I already have like 6 of the mold.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. So I was like, okay, so now I'm not a completist. Like, you just made me not a completist there, which now has followed me to be like, well, if you go up more in price, then, I'm just going to get out completely of it. I guess the same thing would go for the Star Wars Blackline series. Like, if I didn't have a lot of the key things that were from early on, and, then they started to raise the price on me, then it might be something that's like, you know what?
Yeah.
That I'd be probably
Not
out
worth
on
it.
that, because you kind of already weeded me out at the very beginning, which I think they're kind of weeding a lot of people out with these exclusives
They
for
are.
the Black Series right now.
The casuals, I have some casuals at work that I've talked to, and we talk about, hey, what's coming up and stuff. They're on their way out, and they were trying to dip their toes in, but it's too much for like the average person that doesn't toy hunt, that has like a family of 2, that are out there now in their late 30s, early 40s. They're not doing it. They don't want that much to have to do that. If they're going to Target anyway, that's the conversations I have with the casuals. Is, I was at Target and they happen to have this, or I was at Toys R Us, my kid had to get this, so I looked and they actually had the exclusive. Those are usually the words I hear. They actually had it.
Yeah.
From like casual people.
Well, see, the same thing happened with me. I, went up to Pueblo and they had the Executioner for Last Jedi. I was actually surprised to see it, because none of my stores ever get any of the exclusives.
Yeah,
so.
I hear you.
What do you want to wrap it up there?
Sure.
Or is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
All right, guys. We will be back on in 2 weeks, and we'll have another Summercast and Galactic Gumbo for you guys. Let's just go ahead and tell people where they can find us, and then we can jet on out of here. So, Dalton, where can people find you, man?
You can find me everywhere at Daltonians TFs. Also, hit me up on PlayStation Network at Daltonian95, and we'll be playing some GTA 5 later. So,
all right, and Rick.
And you can find me on Twitter as Shatrdglassjazz.
And you can find me, G1Xtron, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and my Facebook page is the G1Xtron. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Cameron, Jonathan, peace, guys.